Welcome to the Series Sweep podcast, where I'm breaking down each and every single series for the Los Angeles Dodgers for the 2020 season. You can find us on YouTube at the Series Sweep podcast. Please subscribe, rate, review, share with your friends that love the Dodgers, kind of like the Dodgers, are good with the Dodgers, or your friends that just can't get enough baseball or people yapping about it. This podcast is unofficially sponsored by Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest. I know, there's a lot of people that make Oktoberfest beers. Some of them are good, some of them are not good, but I gotta tell you, it's a brand you can trust, and this beer is delicious. 6%. It's out there. You can find it in most grocery stores, and with each sip, I feel like I'm in Munich right now. Just walking around the streets, in the tents, hanging out with my people, drinking liter Steins out of a clay mug. It's incredible. They don't actually sponsor us. Please don't sue me. Let's get into it. The Dodgers take 2 of 3 against the San Francisco Giants. Their last series against the Giants this year. This was in the Bay Area at Oracle Park. Why was it renamed Oracle Park, if you missed that? Because it's federally mandated that San Francisco must have at least one stadium named after Oracle. Because the Warriors left Oracle Arena, the Giants took over that mandate. Good job. The Dodgers lose a heartbreaker game 1 in extras in a wild, weird, sloppy game. They lose 8-10. It was a mess, an absolute mess. Doubleheader today, and the reason there was a doubleheader, the games yesterday were postponed, or the game yesterday was postponed. The players decided not to play out of solidarity to support the social injustice protest from the Jacob Blake shooting that happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin. So there's a doubleheader today because they didn't play yesterday. Dodgers win both games today. Don't allow a single run. If you're doing the aggregate score, if you're one of those Champion League soccer player football fans, 9-0 on aggregate. It was incredible. The series score there, you see 17-10. The average swung the bats okay, 265. The ERA, 3.69. It's pretty high because they gave up 10 runs in a game. Bullpen looked good. Besides the game, they gave up 10 runs in a game. Game 1, that was the Urias Cueto game. They trade off 3-run home runs in the first. Muncy hits one, then Brandon Belt hits one. Brandon Belt just had himself a whale of a day, an evening, I should say, in game 1. Sloppy, weird game. The Dodgers, usually very sound defensively, had a couple mistakes. Turner had that tough ball to the hot corner late in the game. Could have got the ball over to first and maybe get him out of the inning, maybe get them the win. Didn't happen. Don't blame him. He still made a hell of a play. But I think game 1 was a great showing of what happens to the Dodgers sometimes when they go up big. They're up 3-0, then it's 3-3, then it's 6-3. And I think it's one of those games that they just start hacking and they get home run happy, let's call it. They just start swinging at balls outside of the zone. They're swinging big. And I think if they would have taken a little bit different of a plate approach, and I think their plate approach is some of the best in the league most days. But I do think they got obsessed with hitting more bombs in that first game and tried to just home run their way to the victory. I got to be honest, when they went up 3-0, I was feeling good, not great, just how Urias has pitched. When it was tied 3-3, not feeling great. Go up 6-3, I'm like, they're going to win this game. The Giants, that stadium is tough to hit in. We just put up a 6 spot. We're up 3. We can do this. Urias has the talent to get it done. Doesn't happen. They go to extras, and it's just a nightmare. And before we get to two big plays from that game, we got to talk about Julio Urias. And his last 2 starts have been nothing short of a disaster. He's been walking a ton of batters pretty much throughout the whole month of August. 4 of his 5 starts, Julio Urias has walked a batter in the first inning. That's not a great sign as a starting pitcher. You should be dialed in. You should be ready to go. If you're gonna give up some hard contact or you miss some spots, I get that. But when you're just straight walking dudes on 4 or 5 pitches, it's not a great indicator. I think Julio Urias, and especially now with Walker Buehler getting put on the IL today, he should stay in the starting rotation for the regular season. And I don't understand I heartily disagree with those people that feel that Julio Urias should be put in the bullpen during the regular season. We have the luxury of being high atop the standings in the NL West. We're many games clear of the number 2 team, the San Diego Padres. And look, maybe the gap narrows, maybe the Padres give us a run for our money, and maybe that middle of September series means a lot. It might. But to have this whiplash knee-jerk reaction that because Urias has had a rough, let's call it 6 starts. I mean, he's had I'd say 1.5 of his starts have been decent or up to his potential. But to say that it's time to rip Urias from the rotation and throw him in the bullpen for the regular season is absolutely ridiculous. And I know that we have high standards and we become an impatient fan base, I believe, when guys are underperforming to their talent level. I understand that, and I get why with the history of this team, especially the last few years after losing in the World Series twice and then getting bounced by a Nationals team in 5 games. I get all that. To pull Urias from the rotation, we've waited years to have this guy as a consistent starter, and I know it doesn't look good right now, and I know the strikeouts aren't there. I know he's walking too many guys. I know the home run rate is too high. I understand all of that. I also understand that we have the opportunity here to give him the rest of the regular season to figure it out. And if he still hasn't figured it out, throw him in the bullpen where we know he can be effective. It's not going to be the end of the world. But everyone calm down on Twitter that Urias should not be a starter. The kid's 24 years old. He's 24 years old. He's not 31. He's not washed out. He was the number 1 left-handed pitching prospect not too many years ago. He was ahead of Blake Snell. He was ahead of Josh Hader. He was ahead of Amir Garrett. He was ahead of Steven Matz. This guy was a highly touted prospect, and there's a reason why. He has good stuff. Off the soapbox, onto, oh God, this. Bottom of the 9th, Dodgers up 1. Kenley Jansen hasn't blown a save all series. He's rocking a .77 ERA going into this game, and you have Brandon Belt, who's just terrorized the Dodgers. Before I play this clip, I want you to see where Austin Barnes is. Maybe it's Will Smith. Anyway, sorry, the catcher. Look where the spot is. Look where the location is. It's outside. We want to just backdoor this cutter. Let's just, Kenley, let's backdoor this cutter. And here's what actually happens. Oh, just crushes it right center field. Absolutely right down the pipe. Brutal. Bellinger's pissed. He's doing his awkward walk, and then you get to watch Brandon Belt, who looks like a baby giraffe, go around the bases. Kenley's bummed. He knows he just blew his first save of the season. Just an awful pitch. You just groove a cutter, a 90 mile an hour cutter, straight down the dick. That's not how you're going to get saves in this game. They go to extras. The Dodgers put up some runs. They're looking okay. It's 8-8. Santana lets a runner on. And then you have Donovan Solano up. And then this happens. So the location away, down, Santana has not looked great as of late. Donovan Solano, who's cooled off considerably after leading the league in RBI for the first couple weeks. Kind of a no-name dude. He batted well last year. And this, even when you're as good as the Dodgers have been this year, you never want to lose to your hated rival at their place in a walk-off. I mean, once again, away and low. Low and away is the pitch call, and he misses his spot. And you know what happens when you miss your spot against Major League hitting? You give up hits, you give up bombs. And that's what happened to Jansen. That's what happened to Santana. I think Blake Trinan gave a run. He didn't look good either in that game 1. And you're feeling pretty down as a Dodgers fan. It was a weird game. You have Turner with that awkward hustle play against Tyler Rogers. It was up and down. There were errors across the board. There were weird plays. I'm sorry. I should not have let this clip go this far with the Giants celebrating. Let's get back to this. All right, so let's get back to the Dodgers winning. Game 2. They win 7-0. That was today. That was a 1 o'clock start due to the doubleheader, and Kershaw just pitches a gem. And as Doyer Brett tweeted, Kershaw lives rent-free in SF's head. He absolutely does. His career ERA against the Giants, 1.82. Let that sink in. 1.82, a sub-2 ERA against the Giants. Is some of that because half the time the Giants' offense is complete garbage? Yes. Is the other half of the time because Kershaw is awesome most of the time? Totally. Great regular season pitcher. Sorry, I had to say it. Gotta call a spade a spade. He's going up against Logan Webb. You're kind of worried because Webb had a nice start against the Giants earlier this year. But once you get to the top of the 4th and they just rally, they put up a 5-spot led by Austin Barnes, who has been swinging the bat really well. He puts up a 2-run double, and you're like, top of 4. It's a 7-inning game because of the new doubleheader rules this year, which are kind of fun. I don't, if you hate it because you're a baseball purist, I don't know what to do for you. It's 2020. A lot of weird stuff's happening. Everyone's got to make changes. If you don't want to make changes, I don't know what to do for you. You got to get with the times. You just got to get with the times. You got to drink some Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest, and you got to figure it out. Once they put that spot up, that 5 spot, you were home free. And just the knockout punch, Dodgers up 5-0, and A.J. Pollock blasts one off Eugenio Suarez, or Angel Suarez, excuse me, to put him up 7-0, signed, sealed, delivered, game over. And then some really interesting, in old school baseball, it's a doubleheader, right? So game 2 is going to start right, game 2 of the day is going to start right after that finish. So the Dodgers don't announce a starting pitcher. There's 26 minutes to go until first pitch is supposed to happen. The Giants, and this is according to Andrew Baggerly, the Giants postpone the start of the game so that the Dodgers when the Dodgers announce their lineup, they can set their batting lineup accordingly. The Giants, according to Andrew Baggerly, they pushed it back to 4:40. That is gamesmanship. I love it. These two teams hate each other. Kapler's a dick, and I respect the hell out of it. I have zero issue with him doing that. Same way I had zero issue with him announcing a starter, not announcing starters, or claiming a starter in that other series when he had TBD for all 3 games. Not an issue. You got to do what you got to do as the Giants when you have that kind of talent and when you're kind of just washing away this year. And speaking of talent and young players, Joey Bart for the Giants, he's their catcher. Finally brought him up. He's going to be a stud. He's going to be really good. But that dude added at least 30 minutes onto game 1, which went into extras, which kept me up past my bedtime, which I did not appreciate. I know all you guys in the Midwest and Eastern time zones who are Dodgers fans didn't appreciate it. Figure out the goddamn signs, dude. You're in the majors. I know it's Cueto. I know he's a veteran. Figure out your signs. And the best was Evan Longoria, hands on the hips, eye roll after the 11th mound visit. I think it's a joke. It's a joke. They claim they count the mound visits. Joey Bart might as well have been pitching. He was up on the bump so much trying to figure it all out for them. I thought it was just absolutely ridiculous. Thanks, Joey Bart, for keeping me up. Please figure out the signs, rookie. Come on, you can do it. But the pitching staff on a whole, I thought pitched really, really well. 3.69 ERA. And then the game today, they bullpen the hell out of it. 2-0. Ferguson starts, and they just keep rolling dudes. The Giants did not hit the ball well. I think they 4 hit him. No, sorry. Kershaw gave up 4 hits. It was just not a pretty sight. And the Giants today, total between the two games combined, 6 hits. Dodgers 2-0. Kenley gets the save in game 3. And another important thing to note is Gavin Lux, our boy, Luxy, got the start today in game 3 because they got that extra spot, the 29th man. He came off the taxi squad. He went 0 for 3. And I understand why. He hasn't played in a major league game. He just gets put into the game. At least he didn't strike out, but it looked like he hadn't faced. It looked like he'd been practicing at USC for the last few weeks and not actually facing major league pitchers. I hope he comes along. I hope he figures it out. I hope he makes the postseason roster. I completely understand if he doesn't. I get it. Came in with a crappy attitude, showed up late. Maybe he showed up late because he had COVID. Who knows? It's understandable why he looked completely out of sorts. Love what the bullpen did in games 2 and game 3 after game 1, especially with how frustrated I know we all were with those results. So let's talk. We're right next to the trade deadline here. We are right there. So what do the Dodgers need? It's hard to say, and I think Andrew Friedman, president of baseball operations, although that guy's so smart, maybe he'd figure out basketball too. Who knows? They're probably going to make a minor add or two, like they have with a reliever they like, because his spin rate on his curveball is great, or he has a nice slider, and this other team's misusing him, and he has an ERA of 4.8. But my God, are we going to trade for him? I saw the Whit Merrifield rumors, the Royals. I doubt that we're going to make the trade and give up Keibert Ruiz or give up a top prospect, Josiah Gray, to get a Whit Merrifield. The Royals are going to want a lot, and I don't think this is the year after trading for Yu Darvish. We've traded for Manny Machado, and we all know the trade deadline deals we've made. I don't think this is another year we're going to make a big splash. I think this is maybe you add a guy around the edges. The bullpen has pitched well. I think expectations for this bullpen are way too high based upon them being the number one bullpen by ERA. They're going to regress. I think they're a top 10 bullpen. For all you crazy Dodger fans, and I love you. I do. I love you. But some of you guys are nuts. And some of you guys think this bullpen is a sub-2 ERA bullpen. I don't think it is. Some regression is going to happen with your Jake McGee's of the world. I think Brusdar Graterol, who has one of the highest ERAs in the whole bullpen, I think he's going to regress back to his mean, which is below a 3.69 ERA. I think it's down below that now, even after today's game. But the Jake McGee's of the world and the Blake Trinans, I expect those ERAs to go up. Dylan Floro, although I love him and his cute little kids introducing him, I expect that to go up. I don't know if they're going to make the trade for Lance Lynn, the Texas Rangers, who the Dodgers will play next series. I don't know. I don't feel it this year. I think with how strange the season has been, with how short the season is. I mean, they just played back-to-back games, 7-inning games today. That's how bizarre 2020's been for the league, for the Dodgers, for everyone on this planet. So I find it hard to believe they're just going to jettison 3 of their 5 top prospects to get a Lance Lynn, to get a Whit Merrifield. So I think it's interesting to write about. I think it gives some people some pub, but I'm with ESPN's Alden Gonzalez when he said, and I quote, minor additions more likely. Yeah, it's going to be a reliever. It's going to be some guy you never heard of, and let's not be upset when that's what happens. So let's get to the stat of the series. 6 for 39. 6 for 39 is the Dodgers and Giants combined average with runners in scoring position in Game 1. That is how bizarre and weird and sloppy that game is. They hit 153 and they scored 18 runs. Just bizarre. The chemistry changing moment of the series. It's going to go to Jock Peterson. His bomb early on in Game 3. And the reason I think it's the chemistry changing moment, you finish up Game 1 of the doubleheader. It's 1-1. You're on the road. You got to travel. The Giants are probably thinking, okay, we just got rolled by Kershaw, whatever. It happens to us 3 or 4 times a year against Kershaw. We're going to get back in this and we're going to win the series. And right when you try to catch your breath after getting pummeled 7-0, after getting a 5-run rally put up on you, you're thinking, okay, we can get into this game, we can win this, we can take the series. Nope. Jock Peterson hits a bomb. As soon as you turn your head around to the next game, they're up 1-0. That just absolutely deflated the Giants, in my opinion. And those bats, 6 hits between 2 games. And I think Jock Peterson it just kept the momentum in the Dodgers' favor and crushed the hopes and dreams of the Giants. And that's great news. I love it when their hopes and dreams get crushed. The Steve Pearce Award. I'm in Munich. The Steve Pearce Award goes to Donovan Solano. Obviously hitting the 2-run walk-off on Game 1. Kind of an not unknown, but a little-known guy. And unfortunately, those videos I pulled were from the Giant stream, and his nickname is Donnie Barrels. I know he had a good first couple of weeks, guys, Comcast Bay Area, but I looked it up because that nickname bothered me deeply. I looked it up. Per Fangraphs, he's not in the top 50 for barrel percentage, and barrel percentage being the percent of contact hit in the sweet spot of the barrel. That's not a fitting nickname. Dude's a hack. He's going to keep regressing. I have him in fantasy, so hopefully doesn't regress too much. If he does, maybe I'll trade him. Who knows? But to call him Donnie Barrels, let's not get out over our skis here with the nicknames. The dude is barely above replacement. And to get to our injury list, the Band-Aid crew. Walker Buehler added to the injury list today, 10-day IL due to blisters on his hand. And whenever you hear the word blisters as a Dodgers fan, you usually think of Rich Hill. So shout out to Dick Mountain. Alex Wood, who pitched in that intra-squad game, is not expected to be activated before the end of the month per Ken Gurnick. Edwin Rios, per Ken Gurnick, is supposed to be activated hopefully next week. I do not have an update from anybody on Pedro Baez and Joe Kelly. His return is quote-unquote a ways away from Dave Roberts. So looking ahead, Friday, 5:05, you have Dustin May against Mike Minor of the Rangers. They fly to Dallas. Saturday, 6:45, you have Ross Stripling versus the aforementioned Lance Lynn. And then Sunday, 11:35 a.m., you have Tony Smokes, the official pitcher of the Series Sweep podcast. You have him on the bump against Kyle Gibson Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Another off day Monday. I know it's weird after 17 straight days of baseball and then a one-day break. You actually do get breaks normally. So we're going to get another break Monday. And the programming note before we wrap things up here on the Series Sweep podcast, I will be traveling to take care of some family stuff. I'll be in Hawaii. No, it's not a vacation. Got a lot of that from my coworkers. I wish it was a vacation, trust me. But we'll leave the car parked there. I will be posting on Monday afternoon/evening the series recap for the Rangers once I land. Gonna take the red eye. I'm sure I'll be fresh and crisp after a red eye because god damn do I love sleep on airplanes. I don't. Anyway, thank you as always for watching the Series Sweep podcast. You can find us on YouTube, the Series Sweep. You can find me on Twitter at EEULAU. You can find me the same handle on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for watching, for listening, for humoring me and hitting that like button on Instagram or retweeting. I appreciate it all. I really do. Officially, unofficially sponsored by nobody. Thank you, and I will see you on Monday.